Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Thumb, my brothers. Yahweh Shemal, the Thun Bahashim Yahweh the sisters. I'm Priest Nocowardas, Nocowardas, like School ISUPK. Start out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under command of General Yohana. As y'all know, we've been dropping this truth since 1969. Teaching the truth according to the Bible. You understand? Letting all so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians know who they are, ethnically speaking, as it pertains to the scriptures. So, today is the Brotherhood class. And once again, Brotherhood can never be stressed enough. You understand? Because Brotherhood is what's going to repair our nation as a people. Brotherhood is the solution. You know what I mean? Brother is the weapon in combating the enemy. All right? Brother is the weapon that combats our oppressor. You know what I mean? That we must use to combat our oppressor in order to be successful in defeating him. Okay? So just want to make that very clear, and we'll definitely chop it up and break it down on how that's so, or what have you. There's been several methods that have been communicated by, so-called black leaders and Christian churches and, people that claim to be for so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. However, at the end of the day, none of those solutions that have been stated are anything that has actually ever been successful for our people. And how do we know this? The reason why we know is because you look at the condition that the so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indians are in currently today. You know what I mean? Yet and still, we're being murdered by the police. You know what I mean? We're being incarcerated more than any other ethnic group on the face of the earth. You know what I mean? We still suffer from a tremendous, not that this is something that, we seek or what have you, but we still suffer from poverty and unemployment. Our unemployment rate is higher than, other ethnicities. All right. So this is how you know that nothing that has been, mentioned, nothing that has been, implemented has ever had any success. You know what I mean? We don't want, the reason why I say that is because we don't want, we're not satisfied with just being employed by someone. You know what I mean? We want dominion over the earth. We want the rulership or what have you. So that's why I say that. But, if you just check society standards and, you check their so-called moral values, equality, that's one of them. You know what I mean? It's said that we should all be equal. You know what I mean? If that's the case, then there should be no pay gap between different ethnic groups. You know what I mean? As far as, between blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians versus, Caucasians or what have you. You know what I mean? No one has ever provided a solution that has been sustainable for our people until, ISUPK was on the scene. And so since 1969, we've been given the solution on how we can actually, change our condition and be successful in combating our oppressor, our slave master. We've been given the solution to that. All right. And, we've been neglected. We haven't been listened to, no matter how persistent we've been in delivering the truth or what have you, yet and still we've been avoided at all costs because, we don't sound like T.D. Jakes. We don't sound like Al Sharpton, or, we don't wear a bow tie and we don't have on a suit and a tie or what have you. You know what I mean? We brothers, we boots, braids, and we got beards and all of that. You know what I'm saying? And they look at us like, man, don't listen to these gangbangers. Don't listen to these robbers, these drug dealers, or what have you. What in the world could they possibly know? Well, given all of the recent events that have been taking place, that have been major indicators that black people need to wake up, you know what I mean, across the whole nation, you know, now we starting to be listened to. You know what I mean? I'm starting to hear everybody, you know, jack the UPK and what we've been dropping and telling everybody to do since '69. You know what I mean? Now what we saying is actually coming to the light and everyone is hearing it. You understand? Everyone is starting to hear it and really see that what UPK has been saying since 1969 is very true. You know what I mean? So now the only problem is, well, it's not really. Well, yeah, it is a problem. The only thing that I would just say needs an adjustment is, you know, what actually needs to be done. You know what I mean? Because what is being done and what actually needs to be done, you know what I mean, are very far from each other. All right? You know what I mean? And you know, it's a lot of waking up that needs to be done. You know what I mean? In order to actually do what needs to be done to successfully, you know, defeat our slave master, to successfully, you know, defeat him and not defeat him in a physical war. However, you understand? Not to defeat him with a gun, not to defeat him with a knife, you know what I mean? Not to defeat him with bombs or anything like that. But there's a different method that is necessary for us to employ in order to achieve, you know, that outcome of successfully defeating the enemy. And that method that we must employ, you know what I mean, what we must first do is have brotherhood between each other. You know what I mean? It sounds quite simple, but it's a very difficult thing when you bring it to the essence. You know what I mean? Just because of Christianity and how it has destroyed our people. All right? Christianity has spiritually destroyed blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Islam has spiritually destroyed blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You understand? So, you know, it's going to take a lot of shaking off of the Christianity, and it's going to take a whole lot of shaking off of Islam and whatever other spiritual or you know, doctrinal, you know, doctrine you subscribe to or what have you. You know what I mean? It's going to take a lot of shaking that off in order to be able to fully digest, you know, what is the truth that needs to be done in order to really have brotherhood between amongst one another. All right. So what I'll do is I'm going to spark it off. And of course, I'm going to go to Zephaniah chapter 2 and we'll start at verse 1. You know what I mean? The reason why I do this too also is because I want to drill it and make sure that, you know, we get it. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's good to keep drilling it sometimes, you know what I mean, or what have you, you know. That way you get it, it's more locked in. You more locked in every time you hear it, you know what I'm saying, and it'll stay with you. You know what I mean? It's kind of like hearing a song once. You know what I mean? You hear that song one time, you know what I mean? You're not going to remember all the words to the song. You just hear that song one time. But you hear the song, okay, now the song is become a hit record and it's continuously playing. And now you start to remember all the words. You can say the song whether it's on or whether it's off. You know what I mean? So UPK, we singing a new song. You know what I mean? We singing a new song, and this is the hit record that you need to remember. This is the hit record that you need to embed inside of your mind and remember every word of it. You understand? This is the best hit record you will ever hear, and you can live this hit record. You know what I mean? You can't live that hit record that you're listening to of all that fairy tale stuff that they talking about. You know what I mean? But this hit record that we talking about, oh, you can live this. You can do every last bit of it, everything that's being said, and you can remember every piece of it and put every piece of it inside of you. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, you'll become an absolute threat to your enemy, and he will respect you for it. You know what I mean? He will have the utmost respect for you when you do it. You know what I mean? So with that being said, let's go to Zephaniah chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired. Gather yourselves together. You know what I mean? So who is this talking about? Gather yourselves together, right? Gather yourselves together. It's time for so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to gather themselves together. You know what I mean? We need to gather ourselves together under one banner. You know what I mean? That one banner is the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge under Commander General Yohanan since 1969. 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. You know what I mean? That's the one banner that we all need to unify under. You know what I mean? And whatever the steps that are necessary in making this a reality and making this manifest, you know what I mean? We are absolutely, we're for whatever needs to be done in order to make this manifest. Of course, we're not going to compromise our stance, however. But any round tables or anything that needs to be talked about, we're definitely for it. That's why Commander General Yohanan put out the order that all camps are ordered to come together. You know what I mean? And this is something that's been pushed. It's been pushed continuously even before the whole COVID-19. Commander General Yohanan was, even in our promotional videos for the Passover, was, pushing that, what I mean, for all camps to come back together. You know what I mean? It's time to gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, whatever differences that we may have between one another, you know what I mean? It doesn't, our oppressor doesn't stop being the devil. You know what I mean? He doesn't stop hating us because, we're under different, we're under two different banners. You know what I mean? He hates us all the same as if we're one. You know what I mean? So we can do all the back and forth, but that all of that is unnecessary right now. All of it is unnecessary. What is necessary, however, and it's very necessary, and it must be something that we take into a high consideration, especially given the time that we in. You know what I mean? What needs to be considered is coming together under one banner and on one accord. You know understand? And then just to broaden it even further, this isn't just talking about, just Israelite groups or what have you that are not in the truth or whatever. But this is expansive, even to the brother or the sister that's in the world that doesn't have the truth or what have you. You know what I mean? But it's time to gather yourselves together. Yeah, you gather together, O nation not desired. You know what I mean? Because we are not desired. That's why we're in poverty. That's why we have the worst educational system. That's why, our communities are filled with drugs and weapons and, all manner of mischievous activities by the oppressor that are meant to keep us subject to those conditions. All right. That's why, you know what I mean? So it's because we are not desired, you know what I mean? And because we're in those conditions and we're in them together, we can look at each other and we can hate one another. You know what I mean? We could look at another so-called Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, and we can forget that he's the same. He's Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian just like us. We can look at the next Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, and we can forget that he got roaches and rats too. You know what I mean? We can forget that he's out there and he has trouble, finding something that he's going to eat for the day. You know what I mean? So that's why he out there on the block trying to see if he can scrape up whatever it's just to get a little something in his stomach. You know what I mean? We listen, we can look at each other and forget that we suffer the same hell, and the reason why we in hell is because we have the same oppressor. You know what I mean? We can forget that at the end of the day, we are brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? And we are in hell together because we are brothers and sisters. That's why we are in hell, because we are brothers and sisters together. You know what I mean? And we can forget that. But now is not a time to forget. Now is a high time to wake out of sleep. That's what the scriptures say in Romans. It's high times to wake out of sleep. You know what I mean? We are sleeping if we're sleeping if we still, using the drugs that our oppressor put there to oppress us, to keep us oppressed. You know what I mean? We're still asleep. You know what I mean? If we out here and we still live in the lifestyle that our oppressor wants us to live by, you know what I mean? In order to keep us subject to those conditions that we are in. We still sleep, but now it's time to wake out of the sleep. You know what I mean? Now it's time to wake out of the sleep, and it's time to ask ourselves, you know what I mean, what is going on here? Why am I, why me? Why am I in this condition? You know what I mean? What is going on? Who am I? Why does every other nation on the face of the earth receive justice for the injustices that occur with them? However, I can suffer slavery. I can suffer tremendous amounts of slavery and rape and genocide and incarceration and chemical warfare and biological warfare. I can suffer all of these things. I can suffer all of these injustices and never receive justice for it. And no one else believes that I should receive justice for it. Why am I so, why am I the one that's held to such a low standard when it comes to being humane? You know what I mean? Why is it, my humanity is not respected like it is with other ethnicities that I see round about me who receive their justice every day? You know what I mean? It's time to see that, and it's time to understand that, well, let's see what's going on here. I don't have a military to fight my battles for me. You know what I mean? Well, something is wrong because, every time something happens, every time something goes wrong, every time we suffer our, atrocities and we want justice for it, we're going to the same man that is committing the injustices to us in order to receive justice. You know what I mean? That's the problem. You know what I mean? When Osama bin Laden flies planes into the Twin Towers, Obama doesn't go to the Arabs and say, man, you got to give justice. You know what I mean? No, they send SEAL Team 6 to kick doors and pull people out of their homes and put them on their hands and knees and execute them. You know what I mean? And say, we got the bad guys. You know what I mean? That's what happens. You know what I mean? So why are we so dependent on the same man that is destroying us? You know what I mean? We have to ask ourselves these things. And then, when we come to the realization that, something has to be done, what we'll understand is that, we've been completely destroyed. You know what I mean? To the point where we don't even know who we are as a people, man. That's the problem. We don't know who we are as a people. We don't even understand that we are a nation of people, all alike. You know what I mean? You can't, America acknowledges the fact that they are a nation. You know what I mean? And because they acknowledge that they are a nation, they have a military to defend their nation. You know what I mean? If they didn't know they was a nation of people, you know what I mean, anybody could, just rule over them with ease. You know what I mean? Because they say, I got the military might, I'll come over here and take care of you. You know what I mean? And whether their intentions were, sincere, or whether they were, they had a hidden agenda in doing so, regardless, they would have to accept it. You know what I mean? Regardless. But, it's time for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to understand that we have a common identity. And we have to come to that realization that, who am I? And when we find out the truth, when we find out that we the Israelites according to that Bible, you know what I mean? That's something that is definitely going to unify us. That's why the scriptures say what? Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. You know what I mean? When we understand that we the same people, it's going to be, it will become easier for us to be unified. You know what I mean? Because now our oppressor has set it up to a point where, you know what I mean, he's implemented his divide and conquer strategy amongst us. So now you got the Dominicans, they hate the Haitians hate the Dominicans hate the Puerto Ricans hate the Mexicans. You understand? Like all around, the blacks hate the Puerto Ricans, and it just goes on and goes on. And we out here hating each other. You know what I mean? Because why? Because we think I'm better than him. My people are better than his people, or what have you. That's the way that we're thinking. My people are better than his people. And all of that. You understand? Not really realizing at the end of the day, we're all the same people. So when your brother, you perceive there to be a weakness in your brother, that is actually a weakness in you. You know what I mean? When you look at your brother and you see something that's wrong with him, or you see that you have something that he doesn't have, that's reflective of you, and it says that you are being a poor brother to that brother. You know what I mean? That's what that says. You know what I mean? But now we come together under one identity. Now, Dominicans and Haitians, they say what? They gonna say, man, them Haitians, those is my brothers. The Dominicans, the vice versa. It's gonna go like that. We gonna look at each other and say, man, those are my brothers. Those are my brothers too. You know what I mean? Regardless of their skin color, what have you, it doesn't matter. Complexion is irrelevant. You know what I mean? The only reason we think like that is because we have a slave mentality. But they gonna look at it. That was just a sidebar real quick. But they'll look at each other and they say, now once you say this is my brother, oh, that's my brother right here. Now they'll come together and become an unstoppable force. You know what I mean? Whoever's lacking on whatever, you know what I mean? The other will be able to compensate for what they have, and we can be brothers to each other and share and build and do wonderful things. You know what I mean? Same things with the Puerto Ricans, same thing with black people, Puerto Ricans and so-called Puerto Ricans and so-called black people look at each other and they say, man, wow, this brother, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? We feel like we better than each other for whatever reason, you know what I mean? Or what have you. We'll help each other out now. Now we say, well, now the same way the Puerto Ricans help the Puerto Ricans and the same way black people help black people, now we start to look out for each other, regardless if you black or Puerto Rican. You understand? So now once we start to look out for each other, then that changes the whole dynamic of things, because now everyone's not being so selfish. You know what I mean? We're not being selfish, and now we extending brotherhood to one another, and now we becoming more and more powerful and more mighty, and we'll become stronger. You know what I mean? If the Hispanic brother got a little bodega, you know what I mean, and he see a brother to come up in there and he like, man, this brother need him a job or what have you, he bring him on in, like, come on, man, get up in here. Let me come on with it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna hook you up. Don't even sweat that. You know what I mean? Or you own a little liquor store or something like that. You own a liquor store, bring a brother right up in there. You know what I mean? The Jamaicans, they own the little, West Indian food spots. They bring everybody, all the tribes are inclusive, You know what I mean? And now it's not just a Benjamite spot run by Benjamites. Excuse me, when I say Benjamites, that means West Indians. You know what I'm saying? So now it's not just a West Indian spot owned by West Indians, worked by West Indians. Now it's a West Indian spot, you know what I mean? That's, okay, owned by West Indians. However, all different, you got so-called Puerto Ricans and Dominicans working back there. You got so-called black people working in the back, and Haitians and Jamaicans all alike. You understand? And it's all brotherhood and it's all love. And we looking out for each other because we all understand that we are the same people. You know what I mean? And that changes everything. The Dominican brothers own a little barbershop at the corner or what have you. You know what I mean? Now it ain't just the Dominican brothers up in there. You know what I mean? Or what have you. You know what I mean? The Dominican brothers ain't working the chairs and all of that. Now they bringing all different tribes up in the scene. And now we looking out for each other. You know what I mean? It'll change the whole dynamic when we look at each other like, okay, you know what I mean? Even though we don't speak the same language, you know what I mean? Even though we don't speak the same language, at the end of the day, this is my brother. And you know what I mean? I know he needs some help. I'm in a position where I can help him out. So I'm going to help him out. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, let's read on. All right. Oh, let me read it one more time from the jump. Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation I desire. You know what I mean? And then once we come together, then there's going to have to be a certain set of laws that come into play. You know what I mean? We're going to have our own constitution. Like America is ran. America has a constitution, and they they live and they die by it, supposedly. You know what I mean? Every nation has a system of laws that maintain the structure of their nation. You know what I mean? And likewise for so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we have a certain set of laws in place that provide structure to our nation. You know what I mean? So, And that's the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. The law, statutes, and commandments that the Lord laid down for us. You understand? That's what we adhere to. And when we start adhering to that, we will become the greatest we'll become the greatest people on the face of the earth. So much so that other nations will look at us and they will aspire to be like us. We will be an absolute influence. We'll be the most influential people on the face of the earth as it pertains to, what is the standard for being a civilized, nation of people. You know what I mean? And they'll acknowledge us, and they'll respect us, and ultimately they'll just want us to rule over them. You know what I mean? When once they truly acknowledge how much, how great so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians are, and our greatness come from the Most High. So when we come back to the Lord, they're gonna see how great that we actually are. You know what I mean? And when they acknowledge it, it will be so, impactful that it would just be unbearable for them to, have us rule over them. You understand? You know what I mean? It's in the scriptures. That's in the Bible. So, and what are some of those laws? You know what I mean? Some of those laws, we have a dietary law. We have dietary laws. You know what I mean? You go in Leviticus, the 11th chapter, and that's where our dietary laws are located. You know what I mean? Predominantly. You know what I mean? And just to surmise the whole thing. You know what I mean? You can't eat no pork, crab, shrimp, lobster, anything in the ocean that doesn't have fins or scales, or any beast of the field that doesn't divide the hoof and chew the cud. You know what I mean? It's unclean for us to eat. You know what I mean? Like, that's we have a standard as to what we consume. You know what I mean? Like, we don't just put a roach in our mouth. We don't grab a roach off the floor without any boundaries. You know what I mean? You just be like, you live like an animal. An animal will eat anything off the floor. A pig will eat anything off the floor. You know what I mean? You'll put anything inside of your mouth, and because if you don't have any restrictions as to what you consume, you know what I mean? If there's no boundaries as to what you consume, then what differentiates you between an animal? You know what I mean? Where's the difference between you and an animal in that aspect? You know what I mean? If you just shove anything in your mouth that you think smells and tastes good, you know what I mean? So we have a dietary laws. We have laws that keep brotherhood alive or what have you. Like, one thing, you can't hustle another brother. You know what I mean? Let's say I got a garment, or I got some I have some fabric that I'm trying to sell, or what have you. And I tell you, the fabric is, full grain leather. You know what I mean? I tell you it's full grain leather, but you find out that it's genuine leather. Meaning I sold you a lower quality grade of leather than I told you I was giving you. You know what I mean? We're not allowed to hustle each other, because then that puts us in a position where we are more than likely going to hate each other. Because the brother, he's going to feel offended. He's, because he got played or what have you. He's going to want some type of revenge for it. And then, the continuous cycle of violence plays out. You know what I mean? Simply like that. All right? We have laws as to what happens when someone breaks in your house, as to what you can and you can't do. You know what I mean? There's different type of laws that make sure that brotherhood is the main focus, and keeps it intact. You know what I mean? There's an answer for everything, you know what I mean, as it pertains to how you deal with a brother or a sister in keeping brotherhood and sisterhood alive, or what have you. All right? We have a whole system, a whole set of laws, you know what I mean, and that even, just even maintain the integrity of our nation as of a people. You know what I mean? That maintain our cultural practices, and, you know what I mean, that maintains our heritage and keeps it undiluted. You know what I mean? Keeps it in the most purest form possible. You know what I mean? Like you look at what's going on in today's society, you have all type of different ethnic groups inside of America. They call America a melting pot. And you got all these different culturalistic practices, and you know, these different nations they get consumed in them. You know what I mean? And when you start to compromise with what your cultural practices are, you know what I mean, eventually they can become lost. You know what I mean? They can you'll lose them. They won't be as potent as they were before. You know what I mean? Throughout the generations, it'll just become watered more and more watered down. You know what I mean? As time progresses. You know what I mean? However, we maintain our integrity and we maintain you know what I'm saying, our culture, and we keep it alive. We maintain our heritage and we keep it alive. You understand? That's why that's part of the reason why we don't even, have interracial marriages. Interracial marriages are something that is completely forbidden in inside the nation of Israel. You know what I mean? You get with a Chinese woman. Get with a Chinese woman, and in some way you're going to be worshiping Buddha. She's going to try to find a way to make you worship that Buddha. You know what I mean? You get with an Arab, she's going to try to find a way to make you worship Islam. And then furthermore, if you decide to have kids, you know what I mean, then what's going to happen? The child is going to be in a split. He's going to be at a crossroads. He's going to see two different cultures. And now, although you may be fully locked in, however, the child may not be. And so as time progresses throughout the generations, you become more watered down, whereas you have two, a man and a woman, and they're both on the same page, they're on one accord, and you know what I mean, they're the same people, you know what I mean, they just keep that same thing going, they keep that same thing rolling, you know what I mean, and then the child will grow up with those customs, and they'll live and they'll die by them. You understand? They'll live and die by them, and they'll pass them down to their children, and they'll keep the culture pure. You understand? So gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. All right. Let me see if I want to read on. That's right. I think I went there. That's right. Let's see if I want to go. I'm gonna drop down to verse 3. All right. Drop down to verse 3. Verse 3. Seek ye the Lord, all ye meek of the earth. Salakia. It says, seek ye the Lord, all ye meek of the earth. All right. Seek ye the Lord, all ye meek of the earth. You know what I mean? You meaning what? You first of all, the Lord said, oh man, how did that scripture go and said, a broken heart and a contrite spirit is a gift of the Lord. Paraphrasing. You know what I mean? But there's a certain point you get to. You have to be in life, you know what I mean, for the Lord, you to actually hear what the Lord is saying. If you're prideful, if you think you know everything or what have you, and you don't want to hear anything that anyone else has to say because you know it all, you'll never be able to receive this truth. You have to understand that, you've been lied to. And because you've been lied to, you know absolutely nothing. You don't know anything. Okay? Don't think you know something because you know nothing. All right? If you want to know something, then acknowledge that you know nothing. All right? That's where you want to start at. Acknowledging that you know absolutely nothing, and the men of the Lord know everything. We know the truth. We know what the truth is, and we've been in it and we've been doing it. You understand? And we know it and you do not. All right? And because we know it, you should listen to us. You should listen to what we say, and you shouldn't listen. We shouldn't listen to what you say. You should listen to what we say. All right. And you should do what we do. All right. We shouldn't do what you do. You should do what we do. Why? Because doing what you do has put you in the predicament that you are currently in. You know what I mean? Listening to yourself, thinking that you know everything, has put you in the position that you're in. It's the reason why you are in that predicament. You know what I mean? It's because you've been doing what you want to do. You know what I mean? However, you listen to the minute of the Lord, and your whole predicament will change. You understand? You come and you get the counsel and instruction from the minute of the Lord, and you'll see your conditions start to change. You'll see that predicament that you're in, it'll start to evaporate. You know what I mean? And you'll be on to bigger and better things. But, you know, seek ye the Lord, all ye meek of the earth. All right? You're going to have to humble yourself. Be humble. Sit down. Come to class. You know what I mean? Wear all black for 90 days and soldier up in this truth. You know what I mean? You a sister, wear a dress, cover your head, and come to class for 90 days, get your Hebrew name, and you know, that's a start. Okay? Seek ye the Lord, all ye meek of the earth. All right? Let's read on. Which have wrought his judgment. Slakia. I mean, the angels rejoice. Every time a new brother or sister come into this truth, you know what I mean? The angels of the Lord, they rejoice. You understand? And that is something that provokes the Most High to want to deliver justice to so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. That makes the Lord, when he see brothers and sisters, and you know, he see them come out of all different types of circumstances, you know what I mean, and change their life completely when they find out the truth. That is something that absolutely provokes the Lord to want to just deliver justice to so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians for all the crimes, all the war crimes that our oppressor has committed against us and continues to commit against us to this day. All right, that's what happens. All right, when we make the Lord want to deliver judgment. What is judgment? Judgment is a punishment for a crime that is committed. All right, the Lord is going to judge. He's going to punish our oppressor, our slave master, for what he has done. You know what I mean? And the way that the Lord is going to do that, the way we ensure that this is something that happens, is putting down the pack of Newports. You understand? Dropping the weed, you know what I mean? Cutting off the pork, cutting off the shrimp, cutting off the crab, cutting off the lobster. Stop the backbiting, stopping the gossiping, you know, all of it. You know what I mean? All of the ways that are adverse to what the Lord intended, how the Lord intended for us to live. You know what I mean? And putting on the spirit of the Most High by doing what he commanded us to do. That is absolutely something that provokes the Most High to want to destroy our enemies for us. You understand? We have an army. Don't get it twisted. Our nation has an army far more superior than anything that this earth has ever known. You understand? And that is the army of the Lord. You know what I mean? Both celestial and terrestrial. Okay? The Lord got angels on standby right now. He got Christ and the angels on standby, ready to get the word, you know what I mean, to send them and come and rip them out their homes like SEAL Team 6 ripped the Osama out his home. You know what I mean? The Lord has them on standby. All we have to do is stop lying. All we have to do is stop thieving. You know what I mean? All we have to do is stop eating pork. You mean to tell me all we have to do is stop eating pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster? That's it? We have to stop eating pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster. We got to come out of the Christian church. We got to come out of Islam. I mean, that should be a pretty much easy thing to do, come out of this stinking Christian church. That should be something that's very easy to do with all the child molestation that goes on in there. You understand? You telling me you can't come out of the Christian church where you know there's child molestation going on and taking place? You telling me you can't give up Catholicism when you know the Pope is molesting little boys and little girls? You can't tell me you can't come out of it. It should be an easy thing for you to do. If it's not, then that says something about your character. Maybe you like molesting little boys. Maybe you like molesting little girls. Maybe that's what you like to do, if you still want to go in the Christian church. But if that's not what you want to do, then you should come out of the Christian church. If you're not a homosexual, come outside of the Christian church. Leave the church, leave it alone. You know what I mean? If you're not a homosexual, you know what I mean, come out of Islam. You understand? Show me something. Show me you're not that. You know what I mean? Come out of the Christian church. It's an easy thing to do, and it'll provoke the Lord to want to destroy your enemies for you. You know what I mean? I don't see why that's such a hard thing to do. You know, putting down the blunt, I understand, brother. Trust and believe. I understand. That blunt is life and death. You understand? That blunt is going to stop you from taking somebody's head off. And I understand. Why you want to take somebody's head off? Because of that wicked broad? You want to take somebody's head off because a brother said something to you? You want to take the reason why you want to do something and you need to smoke weed to stop yourself from doing it is because your oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. You understand? So this is the solution. If you keep smoking the weed, you'll keep escaping reality. And reality is that you need to solve the problem. You understand? And when you smoke the weed, you don't solve the problem. You know what I mean? You accept it. You accept defeat every time you smoke weed. You know what I mean? If you're smoking it to, stop yourself from doing anything. You know what I mean? What needs to be done is that you need to find a solution to whatever the problem is. You know what I mean? So this is what I'm going to tell you. The solution to the problem is the oppressor. When you take the oppressor out of the equation, now you don't have to go to child support court anymore. Now you don't have to worry about being posted up by the D-boys. You understand? Now you don't have to worry about being in poverty. You know what I mean? When you take the oppressor out of the equation, you know what I mean? That's the problem. He's the problem. You understand? And those traitors, those Christian preachers that align themselves with him, they're the problem also. You know what I mean? Find the solution to the problem and you can put down the weed. You know what I mean? And you know what's going to solve the problem? The Lord is going to solve the problem. If you can understand that. He's going to solve the problem. I'm not telling anyone to go out there and go pick up no gun and go, blast TD Jakes in the face. I'm not telling you go out there and take all the money out of Creflo's pocket and hand out turkeys in the hood. That's not what I'm saying. You understand? I'm not telling nobody to take out the police officer while he's chilling in his cruiser with his partner, plotting on who he is about to devour in the hood. That's not what I'm saying to do. The only thing I'm saying to do is understand that the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. And the reason why you're frustrated, the reason why you're upset and you want to kill somebody and you must smoke that weed in order to not do it, you know what I mean, is because your oppressor is the devil. So if you can stop him, if you can take out the devil, you know what I mean, well, then you don't got to be frustrated no more. You don't have to be upset and angered and want to kill everybody under the sun. You know what I mean? And then when you don't want to do that, then you won't have to smoke no more weed. The weed will just, and how you do that? But I'm going to just tell you, though, the way you do that, the Lord is going to solve the problem. And he won't solve the problem unless you stop smoking the weed first. You understand? So you got to stop smoking the weed. I understand as to why we smoking it. You understand? I do. You know what I mean? But if you want to solve the problem and you don't want to get high all the time because of all the problems that you have, you know what I mean? Put down the blunt and watch the Lord do his thing. All right? That's all I'll say on that note. The Lord will absolutely do his thing. You know what I mean? He will solve the problem, being the devil that is. All right? Seek righteousness. That's right. Seek righteousness. You know what I mean? We've been, I mean, it's almost like a negative thing to do something positive. You know what I mean? It's almost become that, as though it's negative to be positive. It's corny. You know what I mean? And that's because of the whole stigma of the Christian church. You know what I mean? You feel like you're going Christian or something like that. You know what I mean? But that is not the case. Seeking righteousness is not wanting to sleep with a woman that belongs to another man. Seeking righteousness is if you a woman not wanting to sleep with another man besides your husband. You know what I mean? Not trying to pursue another man other than your husband. You know what I mean? Seeking righteousness is not selling poison to your people. You know what I mean? Seeking righteousness is just, okay, I know I need this money. I know this flag gonna get me right. You know what I mean? I know these fizzles gonna, make sure that I'm up. You know what I mean? And my pockets is straight. You know what I mean? However, if I do this, I am destroying this woman. I'm destroying. This woman got kids. This woman has kids. She has a family. She has a mother. She has a father. She has a brother. She has a sister. She has aunties. She has uncles. She has nieces and nephews. You understand? She has all of that. And when I sell her this crack, I am destroying this sister. And not only am I destroying this sister, but I am destroying her family. You know what I mean? Because I am destroying her. And I understand that her family loves her very much. You know what I mean? And her family loves her very much. And I hate this sister because I'm giving her this crack and I'm making her become very ugly. I'm making her hate her family. I'm making her hate her family because now she's going in their houses and she's stealing everything. She's stealing from people's homes that she loves. She's doing things that she normally wouldn't do. She's hurting her daughters. She's hurting her sons. When she ends up, in jail every night, she's doing things for $1 that she wouldn't normally do. You know what I mean? And she's shaming her whole family. And I'm responsible for this when I sell this woman this crack. You understand? I'm responsible for that. You know what I mean? And this isn't a righteous thing to do. This isn't a good thing to do. I know this isn't good because, I just gave her, she was just 30 pounds heavier last week. You know what I mean? She was 30 pounds heavier last week. I'm seeing her this week. The broad is anorexic. Something is wrong here. This is not a good thing that I'm doing to her. Yeah, she's doing it to herself to a certain extent, but I can tell she's lost herself. She is not all the way there. I am there. I understand that this is the wrong thing to do. I should get this sister some help. That's the righteous thing to do. I should get her some help. I should stop selling her this crack. She's made me so rich and wealthy and what have you. God dang, I should at least just help the broad out and help her get up off the crack for a second. Seek righteousness. You know what I mean? All right. Seek meekness. You know what I mean? You have to humble yourself in order to be able to think. It's a certain level or way that you'll think about things in a certain light. But in order to think about them in that light, you can't be arrogant. You know what I mean? You can't be, cocky about what you're doing or anything like that. You can't think that, even the realest, most toughest cats understand that some, it's cool and it's fun and it's terrific and you should do that. You know what I mean? You're not going to seek righteousness because your mentality is twisted. You know what I mean? Why would you seek righteousness? Why would you want to stop selling crack when you think selling crack is the most coolest thing to do in the earth? You know what I mean? When you think selling crack makes you the man, you know what I mean? You think it makes you a boss and what have you. You know what I mean? When you think that, listen, F them. I don't give a dang about nobody but me and my money. You know what I mean? When you think and you being arrogant about it, you'll never be able to say this is the wrong thing to do. I shouldn't be selling this crack to this brother. Look at this brother, man. You know what I mean? He's telling me all these stories about how his family doesn't want him to be on crack. Yet and still, I want to sell him this crack so I can get money from him. You know what I mean? He's telling me, he got kicked out of the house for doing crack. He got kicked out the house because he was smoking crack, and he's back in the house now because he stopped smoking the crack. However, you're helping him out by giving him this little bit of flig. You understand? He's not gonna make the spot hot or what have you. You know what I mean? He ain't gonna make it hot. But he's going to be back out on the streets again because he's going to get kicked out of his house. And, if you don't care about that, if it doesn't matter to you, then you're not going to seek righteousness. You won't seek meekness because you're not meek. You know what I mean? You're not humble. You don't think humbly. And usually this isn't a problem that so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians have. We are a very humble people. You know what I mean? We are humble as can be. You know what I mean? Because we understand what it feels like to be deprived of things. You understand? And because we know what it feels like to be deprived, we enjoy, giving to people that are deprived themselves. You understand? Because we understand what it feels like to be deprived. You know what I mean? And we don't want to feel like that. So why would we want someone else to feel like that? I mean, that's why it's a tremendous amount of brotherhood that we already have amongst one another. You know what I mean? But somebody that's lost in the sauce might think everything is all cool and gravy and what have you. But that's not the case. Okay? So seek meekness. All right? It may be ye shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger. It may be that ye shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger. Now, the day of the Lord's anger, what is that? The day of the Lord's anger is when those angels, the Christ and the angels, are no longer on standby. All right? Christ and the angels, they no longer on standby, but the order comes from the Most High to, fall on America, fall on the earth. You know what I mean? The order comes down, from the Lord to execute judgment. To execute his judgment. And, just like with any war, people get caught in the crossfire. You know what I mean? But however, the Lord, you could get hit with a stray bullet. You can get hit with a stray bullet. Two cats is at war with each other, and they shooting at each other, shooting at one another. Boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? Every shot ain't going on the target. You know what I mean? So you might hit the glass window behind them. You might hit the concrete and might fly and ricochet and then hit something else or what have you. You might hit up a car door. You might shoot a bullet through somebody's window. You know what I mean? You might, shoot through somebody's door, just shoot through the goddamn walls of their house. You know what I mean? Because you missed the target. You know what I mean? Well, it's going to be an exchange of artillery. You know what I mean? Artillery is going to be exchanged. They will not touch the Lord, however. You know what I mean? Or the angels. But you can get caught in the crossfire. You know what I mean? Because this earth is going to be destroyed by Christ and the angels. When the Most High gives those death orders, when he gives the order, when the sword come out the Lord's mouth, you know what I mean? And he say, fall on them, it's over. You know what I mean? Get out the way. You know what I mean? But you won't be able to get out the way because that's how tremendous the onslaught from Christ and the angels is going to be. That's how tremendous the onslaught from the army of the Most High, the army for so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians is going to be. You understand? So it says, bear with me 1 second. It may be you shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger. That's the day of the Lord's anger. That when the Lord is showing you his anger, that's the day that he is showing you his anger when he does that. You know what I mean? When he sent Christ and the angels to come destroy this earth that we are on. When you see them chariots fill up the sky, You know what I mean? They show it in all the movies, the Independence Day, the Avengers, and all of that. You got the motherboard ships, you got the little break off joints and all of that, and they over there, they got the plasma all over them, and you know nothing is penetrating through it or what have you. We got all of that or what have you because they know what's about to go down. But that is definitely what is going to go down. You know what I mean? You're gonna see them chariots fill up the sky. 200 million angels. Salakia. On chariots ready to destroy this place. You know what I mean? And if you don't want to be destroyed with it, you know what I mean? Seek meekness. Seek righteousness. You know what I mean? Humble yourself. All right? And you'll be hid in the day of the Lord's anger. Meaning what? The Lord is going to make a specific effort. You know what I mean? You got different operations with any army. You know what I'm saying? You got the front line. You got cats on the front line. You got the special ops. You got all kind of cats. You know what I'm saying? In different you know, branches of the military or what have you that have different responsibilities. You know what I mean? The Lord is going to give a specific order. You know what I mean? A specific order to ensure that those brothers and sisters who humbled themselves, who sought after righteousness, who stopped eating pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster, who stopped celebrating holidays, you know what I mean, American holidays and all these other, and left the homosexual Christian church and the child molesting Christian church and the Catholic church and the Muslim mosque. The Lord is going to take note of that. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to make sure that you dwell in safety when everyone else is in absolute danger. You know what I mean? You won't be consumed when Christ and the angels return to deliver justice and show the anger of the Lord with what has been done for all the violence that has been done on our people. All right? You'll be hid. You'll be hid on the chariots of the Most High. You know what I mean? On those chariots, some things that they call UFOs, those are the chariots of the Lord. Those flying objects that they say defy the laws of gravity, that they move they maneuver, the way that they maneuver defies the laws of gravity. You understand? That is the type of power that you are dealing with. A power that has, you know, aerial power, you know what I mean, that defies the laws of gravity. You know what I mean? Meaning we shouldn't be able to move like that on anything that is flying around the earth. You know what I mean? You got the America and all of these other countries and what have you. They have different fighter jets and predator drones and things like that, and they all have a pattern as to how they are able to maneuver. You know, they restricted to the laws of gravity. But our power defies the laws of gravity. You know what I mean? When it comes to, you know, the Most High's fighter jets. The Most High's fighter jets defy the laws of gravity. And they, you know, this world, this earth is no match for that. All right? If just, you know, the way that they maneuver defies the laws of gravity, imagine the artillery that they have in store. The artillery that is in store is going to be absolutely far more superior than any weapon that is known to man. You understand? Okay? So, you know, with that being said, you see, I might be able to Salakia, sneak one more of them things up in there, alright? I might be able to slide one more of them things up in there. Y'all just bear with me 1 second. Okay. Guess I'll use this. I'll go to this one then. You know what I mean? Just because we right up on the time or what have you. Mm-hmm. 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 That's right. No sweat. All right. Where we at? Oh, okay. Most High in Christ. All right. Salakia. Where we at? Ecclesiastes, right? In the Old Testament, Ecclesiastes, the 4th chapter, and Salakia, the 9th verse, all right? Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. You know what I mean? Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. Let's read on. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. You know what I mean? Just think like you was going to war. You know what I mean? You going to war, you might got a brother that suffers a gunshot wound. You know what I mean? The brother suffer a gunshot wound, and you know it incapacitates him. All right, meaning he's unable to move. All right, he's still alive. However, he's unable to move. You know what I mean? If he's there by himself, he has no one to move for him. All right, he might have to phone in on an ambulance or something like that and try to get somebody to come through to him. Lord allow he hasn't lost enough, blood that it's a DOA. You know what I mean? That he's pronounced dead on arrival. You know what I mean? However, you got a brother. The brother, he gets shot in the leg or something like that, and now he's unable to walk because he gets shot in the leg. You know what I mean? If he's there by himself, you know what I mean? It says, woe unto him, meaning what? Death or destruction. He might die or, he's just going to be destroyed for that. You know what I mean? He might die, you know what I mean, because he's unable to move and get to the hospital or what have you. But if he's there and he's fighting with another brother and, they going to war and the brother gets shot in the leg and he can't walk no more and his brother helps him out. He helps him to the car. You know what I mean? He bring him to the car and slide him to the emergency room. And now he brings him in there, and everything is solid now. You know what I mean? That's the benefit of brotherhood. You know what I mean? That's the benefit of brotherhood. You know what I mean? Where at the end of the day, this is all stressing one point, however. You know what I mean? It's stressing one point, but let's read on. Salakia. Again, verse 11. Again, if two lie together, then they have heat. But how can one be warm alone? Right? If two lie together, they have heat. But how can one be warm alone? Okay? So two lie together, they have heat, but how can one be warm together alone? You know what I'm saying? Meaning what? Let's just say, there's circumstances where, you might be, now this is something that isn't really, what have you, but it's not something that's too common with our people or with it, whatever. You understand? But, let's just say there's freezing temperatures, okay? We are in freezing temperatures and you're by yourself and you out there and what have you, your chance for survival is very low. You know what I mean? Your chance for survival increases tremendously if, you was walking with somebody else and below freezing temperatures. Because why? Because you can hold each other for body heat and you can gain warmth like that. You can gain warmth, and so that's a benefit of being. That's a benefit of Salakia. That's the benefit of having someone else with you when it's cold. Okay? Let's read on. And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken. let's just say, you was probably, you was at the bus station somewhere, or something like that, and you got these cats, they rolling on you deep because they trying to jump you. You know what I mean? You okay, you might be able to hold it down or whatever, or what have you. You know what I'm saying? Let's say you don't have a thing on you or nothing like that, and they ain't got the thing on them, or nothing like that. They just coming to box you out. You know what I mean? And you gonna have to box them out. Okay, no sweat. You might be the Tasmanian devil. All right, you might be the Tasmanian devil, and your hands is crazy like that. But however, your chance will increase if you wasn't standing at that bus stop alone. You know what I mean? You there with another brother. Now two cats roll on you deep. You know what I mean? All right, no sweat. I mean, now three cats roll on you deep, but now you got another brother standing there with you that's gonna fight with you, that's gonna stand with you and fight with you till it's over. All right. And a threefold cord is not quickly broken. What is a threefold cord? A threefold cord is a braid. So imagine braiding, something together. It's not easily. You're not easily going to break that. And you might break one easily. You might snap that thing off real easy. But whenever you braid something, it reinforces it. You know what I mean? It makes it more. It makes it stronger. All right. When you braid that thing up. All right. But all of this is stressing one point. The point that is being stressed here is that we need each other. You know what I mean? We can't be selfish. We have to be selfless. You know what I mean? We have to have brotherhood. You know what I mean? And brotherhood is such a, great and wonderful thing to have, and it's almost a no-brainer as to why we should express it toward one another. We should show brotherhood toward one another. Showing it toward one another is an absolute no-brainer because it is absolutely beneficial. You know what I mean? It's beneficial, you know what I mean, when our oppressor is trying to, swarm us and destroy us, you know what I mean, with whatever devices and tactics that they have, that they implement to destroy us, you know what I mean, if we have each other, that makes it much more easier to withstand. You know what I mean? But with that though, however, you know what I'm saying, we want to roll because we right up on the time or what have you, okay? But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, brotherhood is a weapon, you know what I mean, and it's the only weapon that will be used to successfully destroy our oppressor. And if you want to learn, if you are interested, if you know what I'm saying, you want to learn how to combat the oppressor. If you want to see this nation fall, if you tired of what happened, you know what I mean, with Stephon Clark, if you tired of what happened with George Floyd, if you're tired of what happened, you know what I mean, with all the recent acts of deadly force, employed by the police on our people, if you're tired of seeing our people die by the hands of police officers, you understand, make sure you get up in the ISUPK. Make sure you call the nearest city to you, okay? And you get up in there and you call that number and you do as you're told to be a soldier for your people. Okay? So with that, I'm going to roll Israel Shalom. Yahweh Shia Shah thumb to my brothers. Yahweh Shemor Lathan Bahashim Yahweh Shah to the sisters.